Hi, very good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome from CMS Vatavaran on, and as you know that we are having the 11th CMS Vatavaran Film Festival and Forum, and this time it's in hybrid where you can watch some of the wonderful films from different part of the world on the India Science OTT channel, and the films can be seen till 23rd. So, like always, you know that every day from 4 to 5 we talk to some of the very bright, talented, and very dedicated filmmakers towards who are doing efforts towards this uh, conservation of the wildlife and the biodiversity. Uh, so today also we are going to talk to one of the filmmaker. Actually, we were supposed to talk to these film directors duo, but one of the director, Malaika Vaz, she is in US and she won't be able to join us right now due to the time difference. But we are having with us Nitya, and Nitya is joining us from Sri Lanka. Friends, before I invite Nitya to the screen, let me introduce Nitya to you. Nitya is a National Geographic Explorer and documentary filmmaker, and his work is driven by his love for the outdoors and his passion for innovations in sustainability, conservation, science, and business. Nitya brings his visual aesthetics and technical expertise as an engineer to the films he makes and enjoys filming topside, underwater, and aerials. As a cinematographer and unscripted producer, he works with a diverse crew, including cameramen, sound recordists, writers, and directors, to create films that are premium and impactful. Prior to his foray into documentaries, Nitya also worked on an Academy-nominated film titled Code. Uh, as you know that their film Nitya and Malaika film Peng Yu Sai is also nominated in the 11th CMS Vatavaran Film Festival, and this film, which Nitya has also co-directed and produced, was also nominated for the Green Oscars, and it also won a special jury award at the prestigious Jackson Wild Media Award. So let me welcome Nitya. Uh, Very warm welcome, Nitya Sood. How are you?
Hi, Sabyasachi. I'm very well. How are you doing? It's great to
Fine,
be
thank
here.
you. So, Nitya, before we talk about this film, uh,
Mhm.
why don't we start from the beginning? Like, how and why you decided to become a filmmaker, and how was the journey till date?
Right. I don't think there is one answer for that question. It was a series of events, and I think like a lot of us filmmakers, I kind of stumbled into it and
Mhm,
then found my way and found my path. Uh,
mhm,
I was an engineering student. I was studying engineering, and
mhm,
that's when I actually started making films as something um, of a extracurricular activity, something that I
mhm,
wasn't really enjoying my engineering course. So I started making films, and that's something that took my interest, and
mhm,
it started with short films, and then taking part in competitions and stuff like that. um, and once I graduated from college, I decided to go work in the film industry, and I went to
mhm,
Bombay and worked as an assistant director on in an indie film called Court.
mhm,
um, I think I learned a lot through that process, through
mhm,
making short films through scratch and through working in the
mhm,
industry. And when I came back from there, I wasn't really I felt like if the fiction space was not where I really wanted to
mhm,
develop further. So I
mhm,
started looking at ways I could make documentary films.
mhm,
um, and I worked at a production house in Bangalore called Fellis Creations under
mhm.
Sandesh Kadur for a couple of years. Learned a lot
Great
through that
filmmaker,
process.
wonderful filmmaker, Sandesh Kadur. Yes.
Yes, and he's been a mentor to me, and I learned a lot from
Mhm,
working with him. And then I felt like I wanted to make films that were conservation oriented, that
mhm,
uh, could tell stories about uh, people who are impacted by environmental issues. And that's what I've been trying to do over the past few years, along with my teammate Malaika and at Untamed Planet.
So you and Malaika, you started this Untamed Planet, and you make a couple of very beautiful and well acclaimed movies. Like you work for Net Geo. While what I can see here on your website, like Living with Predators, you had made 3 episodes for Net Geo, and then you had make documentaries for Al Jazeera also. Then
Hmm.
yeah, another film that is here is ready to ready to wild, and then the quaint, uh, and then so there are so many films you and Malaika has co-directed and co-produced. So like how you came to meet Malaika, and how you decided to form a company together and work together. What was the thing which you feel that yeah, these are the things are common, and we think that we can work together.
I think honestly, when we started making the Manta film, which was in 2017, uh, Malaika had gone to the east coast of India in Andhra Pradesh, and she
Mhm,
saw that there are these manta rays that are being caught, and
mhm,
she wanted to document that. That's how
mhm.
it started. And when we
Okay.
started working on the film, when we started putting it together,
Mhm,
uh, it was a long process, bit by bit. We were trying to figure out how to uh, do one shoot after another. We went and filmed in
mhm,
Andhra Pradesh, came
mhm,
back, then we got a lead from Manipur.
mhm,
For those who have seen the film, it was about
mhm,
basically a consignment of gill plates that was being sent to
mhm,
China through the land border from
mhm,
Manipur to Burma and beyond. So we went there and we filmed that part of the story. And as the film started coming together, uh, we realized that we need to give the film a home, and we need to that was the birth of Untamed Planet. And we
mhm,
said, we need to set up a production house that will be the home of this film once it's finally complete, and we want to send it out into the world.
mhm, mhm,
Honestly,
mhm,
that's how it began. And only because the film received positive attention,
mhm,
that really actually catapulted us, and we started doing other work,
mhm.
mm, as you mentioned just now.
Okay, so why don't we see a small clip from the film, and then we discuss
Sure,
about the film.
sure.
I need to track down where these mantas are being sold.
I'm heading to this port where I've heard there are large landings of rays, so let's see what we find there.
Within minutes of arriving at the harbor, we see a boat pulling in with a ray. More trucks come in, bringing mantas from countless fishing vessels. This is the main market in the region. The ports are strewn with not just mantas, but also their smaller, genetically distinct cousins, mobula rays. A few meters from where the boats dock lies a devastating scene. Money changes hands, and just like that, a carcass becomes an economic transaction.
The meat of these animals is of no value. It's tough, and locals say that it tastes rather strange. It is one of the cheapest products sold at this port.
There is something else that is driving the killing of these animals in Indian waters.
Look, there's gill plates there. This is what they're after.
About a decade ago, the world saw an explosion in the demand for gill plates. A multi-million-dollar industry mushroomed in the span of a few years. Faced with diminishing stock worldwide, traders began targeting Indian shores, zoning in on landing sites on the southeast coast. Most mantas and mobulas landed here used to be bycatch. But today, an increased demand for gill plates has driven fishermen to to actively target them.
Okay, very, some of the very heart touching shots. So, as you were mentioning that Malaika came across of manta ray killings, and then you both decided to make a documentary film. So how was the film's journey? Can you tell us a little about like how it started, and was it easy because it's a kind of investigating documentary, which we see very less in our country, so it must be challenging.
Yeah, it was definitely very challenging to make the film, but also, when we started, we never imagined that it will grow into such an extensive project,
Mhm.
and it'll take up this much time and end up being such a long film and such an in-depth film. What we started with was just going to these ports that we just saw in Andhra
Mhm.
Pradesh, and just documenting what we were seeing.
Mhm.
And it started as it was a self-funded project that we didn't know where it will
Mhm.
lead, but we just
Mhm.
wanted to document it, and we were trying to unravel the story. We were trying to,
Yeah.
genuinely go and ask them, okay, where are you sending these things? And then we would go from one port to the next port, and then they would say, okay, it goes to such and such place. And we were trying to follow that story, follow that thread.
Mhm.
um and in the beginning it was just the two of us and a small camera, and we would go there for a few days, film, and then come back.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we kind of, they started telling us that, oh, we send it to Chennai. From Chennai, most probably it is exported to Hong Kong and China.
Mhm.
And like I was just mentioning a little while ago, just out of the blue, we actually received some information from an
Mhm.
NGO, Seva Seas Foundation,
Mhm.
uh, that somebody had contacted them
Mhm.
from Manipur, saying that, we have recently confiscated manta ray gill plates, and
In
since
Manipur.
you are in Manipur, yeah.
Wow.
And it was basically the armed forces, Assam Rifles, had
Mhm.
they came across some person carrying large bags of gill plates in a car, and
Mhm.
they kind of, it was a stroke of luck. This is not something that the armed forces really looks for, and it's
Mhm.
not really on their radar, but
Mhm.
they happen to notice that it is something fishy. And
Mhm.
it seemed like it was high value goods without the proper export documents and such and
Mhm.
such. And when they started looking into it, they realized it's a wildlife product which is, not supposed to
Mhm.
be traded under CITES.
So you are
And
fishing and killing this thing, the manta ray, in uh, South India, and
yes,
then you are smuggling the fin to Manipur. Why so?
so I don't think Manipur is the only route. I'm sure there are
Mhm.
other routes. It goes by via sea route as well, I'm sure. The thing
Where
is,
it goes?
to Hong Kong and China.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the main market.
Mhm.
These products are used in traditional Chinese medicine,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it travels on a multiple ways. But
Mhm.
manta ray gill plates do fall under CITES,
Oh.
which is, which means that the cross-border trade of this
Mhm.
substance is not strictly allowed. Now, CITES
Mhm.
is a very difficult convention to enforce, and
Mhm.
and there are lots of uh, violations that happen all the time. So I
Mhm.
think one of the routes that they kind of take is the land border from
Mhm.
Manipur to Burma. Is a There's a land border, and there's a lot of
Mhm.
trade that happens,
Mhm.
especially of seafood products, dry fish and stuff like that. So it just goes
Mhm.
under the radar.
Mhm.
And Burma actually happens to be a huge hub of wildlife trade.
Oh.
A lot of illegal wildlife products come together in Burma. Tiger
Mhm.
skins, rhino horns, from the northeast, from Kaziranga.
Mhm.
Uh, and from Burma, there is a very porous border into China.
Yeah.
And these things enter China, which is
Mhm.
quite a big problem. So so it was a stroke of luck that this Seva sees knew that we were making the film, because we had written to a few people for funding, and they got in touch with us and said, hey, if you want, you can go and cover the story. So we went there, and then the logical step was to go film in China and Hong Kong, and really see where the product is going, who is selling it, and what it's all about. So then we went and filmed undercover in Hong Kong, in China, with uh very basic, cheap, glasses with cameras from Amazon, and just a small DSLR camera. And we tried to go to shops and traders. We tried to track down who the big traders are, the ones who are trading in high volumes. We tried to see where their goods are coming from, where they're receiving their goods from. um so it was a step by step process. We were just unraveling the story one step at a time. um and then we the story came full circle when we found the contact of a trading company in Chennai, which uh which was actually responsible for the consignment that was confiscated in Burma. So our story in the film also comes full circle in Chennai, the investigation. And we go and meet those guys, and try to, like, just bring the whole story full circle. And of course, we also, because we were in touch with organizations that are working in conservation, like Sevasi's Foundation, the Wildlife Trust of India, and Wild Aid. We were trying to see what we can do to make some kind of a grassroots change. And that was another part of, in fact, the WTI, Wildlife Trust of India, worked on a 2-year grassroots
I will,
project.
I will, I will come
Sure.
to that point. But before that, let me again play a very a 1 minute clip from your film, and then
Yeah.
we will discuss about it.
To be able to help me figure out where this contraband was headed.
Geographically, Burma acts as a gateway between China and some of its other neighboring countries like India and Bangladesh and Thailand and Laos. How consequential is that to wildlife trafficking?
Well, like you say, it's kind of like a hub, isn't it? It's like a transit hub from Southeast Asia to China. So, a lot of wildlife products are coming through there. Like you say, manta ray products, tiger products, and ivory, I believe, also.
And have you seen that there's a lot of military presence in the area and that they're actively looking for wildlife products, or does it kind of just slip under the cover?
Because a lot of these countries, they're very, very poor. And so the people in the army or customs or government, they're very open to bribery.
The trader that I spoke to in Manipur basically said to me that the final destination for these manta ray gill plates was not China, it was just Burma. Do you buy that?
No, absolutely not. No, he'd be selling to a Burmese trader who'd then be selling them on to a Chinese trader.
So it talks about a number of, it's like a chain. One person is
Right.
taking product from here, giving it to some another person, then some other person taking it and going to some other person, and then so how big is this network of this wildlife trafficking in India and outside?
I mean, it's huge. Wildlife trafficking is one of the world's biggest illicit industries. It ranks, uh, if you look at arms, drugs, human
Mhm,
trafficking, wildlife
mhm.
trafficking just is as big as those industries, or maybe the third or fourth largest illegal industry in the world,
Wow.
after arms, drugs, and human trafficking. So obviously, it's a huge industry, and it's an industry that is closely linked with these other illicit industries as well,
Mhm,
because the same guys who would smuggle arms or drugs would
mhm.
take up consignments of illegal wildlife. These are a lot of wildlife products like tiger skin, rhino horns. They are very, very high value, even much more than
Mhm,
manta rays.
mhm, mhm.
And it's the same channels that operate these kind of products as with drugs and arms and other
Wow.
illegal products.
It
so
means
so
that
it's
these guys are very dangerous.
of course
So
it's a huge. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
No, so it's a huge network, and like, just like in any illicit trade, uh,
Mm-hmm.
each person just knows who he needs to deliver the goods to and who he or she needs to collect the payment from. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very opaque network. Nobody knows
Mm-hmm.
what, you know, who's pulling the strings finally, and where it's ending up, and who's making the profits. And
Wow.
very often the profits are being made by a few businessmen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's these guys are, they get 5,000 rupees, and you know, you have a van, please take it from this point to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a network of multiple such connections
Mm-hmm.
that these kind of goods travel through, and which is why
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to clamp down on it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's so porous and spread out.
So as these are so, they are a very dangerous person, and they must be, as you were saying, that they are dealing with drugs also, and must be illegal arms also. So won't you, that time you won't be, frightened or little, you know because you have to find these guys, and if the guys came to know that you are, spying on them, so how you manage?
Yes, I mean, it was I I would be lying if I said there were no nervous moments.
Mm-hmm.
It was, at times it was a little bit scary going into some of the places to film,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Chennai, when we were trying to track down the guys who were exporting the gills.
Mm-hmm.
um, we tried to make sure we have the right local support.
Mm-hmm.
uh, in Manipur, we got really good support from the army. They are the
Mm-hmm.
ones who had confiscated the goods, and they were happy
Mm-hmm.
to, host us, so we felt a little bit secure, because
Mm-hmm.
um, it is scary to be trying to track down a story like
Mhm,
this, and trying to
mhm.
uh, you know film something like this. And
Yeah.
we were aware of, we were looking over our shoulders. Just it was a natural response, but it
Mhm.
was it was scary at times, yes.
So, what was the scariest moment during the making of the film, where you said,
I think
"Oh my God, what we will do now?"
I think the scariest moment was when we were filming Undercover in China.
Mhm,
Uh, there was this one moment where we were in a shopping
mhm,
arcade, where a lot of
mhm,
wildlife products were being sold,
mhm,
and we were just filming this shop where they had shark fins and whale shark fins,
mhm,
and manta ray gill plates as well.
mhm,
And suddenly, Malaika kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and she brought my attention to the fact that there are two police guys standing in the corner and like watching us.
mhm,
And they uh, they noticed that, we have noticed them, and they said something on the radio, and they went into like one of the inside corridors.
mhm.
Uh, and and suddenly, like, we were very, very aware that, we are the this situation might get out of hand.
Wow.
And at that point, we immediately left from there, and went back to where we were staying with some local contacts, and
Mhm,
didn't really go back to that particular arcade again. That was a
mhm,
scary moment, because especially when you're doing something like this in China, uh, it can get complicated.
mhm.
Country like China, yeah,
Yeah, certainly.
yeah.
So, you very minutely, try to understand this whole, the chain, and then whole business of this, thing. So how big is thing, like, if we talk in a monetary term, can you tell us how big, how much of amount of, money involved in these illegal, like, especially for Mantare field smuggling?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's definitely really big money. I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, but
Mhm,
the manta ray gill trade itself is,
mhm.
uh, I, I think it's around 400 $500 million a year.
Wow.
Uh, I think it is mentioned in the film somewhere. I don't remember the exact numbers
Yeah.
off the top of my head. So it's
Mhm,
huge money, and that's why it continues to happen, because
Mhm.
there's big money to be made.
Mhm.
And again, while filming in Hong Kong and China, we came across traders who were willing to supply us thousands of kgs of manta ray gills. Now,
Wow. And
that's
what is the
that's
price of the manta ray gills per kg in open market?
uh, again, these are not numbers that I have on my fingertips. Yeah,
Guess.
but to give you some perspective,
Yeah.
you get maybe uh, f- 5 or 6 or maybe 8 big pieces of gills from one
Uh-huh.
one animal,
Mhm.
right? So and that would probably be around 3 or 4 kilos. So somebody who is willing to supply 1,000 kilos overnight,
Mhm.
they're like, yeah, give us till 2 days and we'll get you 1,000 kilos.
Mhm.
1,000 kilos represents almost, depending on the size of the animal, anywhere between
Mhm.
250 to 350, 400 animals.
Mhm.
Uh, that's that's a lot of animals when you consider that these are big oceanic
Mhm.
animals.
Mhm.
They are slow to reproduce. They
Mhm.
have offspring once in 4, 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
Unlike sharks, who have they have a lot of offspring. Manta rays don't. They have one or
Mhm.
two offspring in over a course of many years. So these animals are susceptible to overfishing, and
Mhm.
their populations are crashing in many places.
Mhm.
Um, some places up to 90%, which is
Wow.
very, after that point, it's not it'll take an extraordinary effort of conservation to
Mhm.
let those populations bounce back. So it's the scale is huge, in context with the species and their biology. It's a huge
Mhm.
threat to them, because the numbers
Mhm.
being killed are huge, and they're not able to reproduce at
Mhm.
a fast enough rate to really sustain them.
Mhm. Nitya, when we talk about the Finns smuggling, the first thing which comes to our imagination or in mind is about shark fin, and
Yes.
there are so much of talk about shark fins. But why we are listening such a a small amount of talk in the town regarding manta ray? Like, I think like there are hardly few films which are talking about the manta rays killing. So why is so?
So first of all, manta rays, uh,
and i think
traditionally they
manta
were
rays are
not.
and I think manta rays are very friendly to the human being. Don't.
They're very, very friendly animals. To be honest, as someone who spent a fair amount of time underwater filming them,
Mhm.
uh, they are so curious and gentle. Not a lot of people know this, but manta rays do not have teeth or a sting or anything.
Oh.
They do not have any way to actually harm you, unlike
Mhm.
stingrays, which are much
Mhm.
smaller, but they have a
Mhm.
sting. And
Mhm.
everyone knows about the incident with Steve Irwin. And
Mhm.
although stingrays do not usually pose any threat to divers or
Mhm.
snorkelers, that was a freak
Mhm.
accident.
Mhm.
But manta rays don't even have a sting or any teeth.
Mhm.
uh, but it's not just about that. It's about their behavior, which is very interesting, is that they're very
Mhm.
curious. So when you go
Mhm.
into the water,
Mhm.
they actually come to you to check out, what is this, and they will
Mhm.
swim around you 2 3 times, come close to you, and once they're satisfied, then they'll go about their business. So,
Mhm.
and that is something that is a very exciting and uh, you know uh, humbling experience when you're
Mhm.
underwater.
Mhm. Yeah,
To
certainly.
uh, yeah, and these are big animals, and
Mhm.
when they come to you with just out of curiosity or whatever it is, it's quite special. uh, and it's really, really amazing. One of the most amazing experiences that I've had filming in
Mhm.
the wild. But to come back to your question about the manta ray gills,
Yeah.
this is the gill plate industry is relatively new.
Mhm.
When we were filming, a
Mhm.
lot of the fishermen would tell us that, 10 or 15 years ago, when we used to catch manta rays, we used to just throw them out. We used to
Mhm.
untangle it from our net and throw them out, because there was no
Mhm.
value.
Mhm.
uh, the meat is not really, doesn't taste good. It has a very pungent flavor,
Mhm.
and the gills also didn't have much value.
Mhm.
In the last 10 or 15 years, the price
Mhm.
of manta ray gills went up a lot.
Mhm.
And and the speculated reason for that is, business interests started pushing it.
Okay.
In China and Hong Kong, they started promoting it as some kind of a traditional Chinese remedy.
Mhm.
uh, it is also because there was a lot of pushback on the shark fin
Mhm.
trade,
Mhm. Mhm.
that traders wanted to find something else that they
Mhm.
can push as,
Mhm.
as a substance that people
Mhm.
would be willing to buy for
Mhm.
different kinds of ailments, because
Mhm.
culturally, in Southeast Asia, uh, it's very easy to convince people that, you know
Mhm.
certain animal products will help with certain ailments. uh,
Mhm.
but and there are interests that push that agenda. There are business
Mhm.
interests that push that agenda. So I think, given the fact that also shark populations
Mhm.
have declined drastically,
Mhm.
so sourcing shark fin was harder. There was
Mhm.
this public awareness campaign about shark fins, so some of that
Mhm.
focus or energy is shifted to manta rays, and
Mhm. Mhm.
they started pushing that as a new product.
Okay, okay. So this manta ray killing is something relatively new phenomena, which is happening like new
Exactly.
kind of. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So now coming back to the chain of this trading, the smuggling. So
Sure.
like how it goes, like fishermen, they fish it and they kill it and then they sell their fins to how someone who is there in, and then how it goes, and then how the money comes in and goes back, like how is the chain,
So,
supply chain.
I mean, for fishermen, it's, just like they catch anything else, tuna,
Hmm.
pomfret, they
Hmm.
they also get manta rays.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that it's all incidental catch. Some
Hmm.
fishermen go out looking just for manta rays, and they
Hmm.
go to certain specific aggregation sites where they know that they'll catch manta rays.
Hmm.
um, and generally what happens is, at all of these fishing ports,
Hmm.
in the morning at 4 o'clock, a lot of all these boats will come in. They would have been out for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. They'll all come in with their catch, and so the manta rays, they cut them up and remove the gills,
Hmm.
and there would be a trader who will come and buy them. So
Okay.
there's like this informal auction that happens,
Hmm.
and whoever the trader is, they will just buy it and pay the fisherman whatever that is, 5,000, 10,000 rupees, and
Hmm.
that's it. That's the fisherman doesn't really know much else about what happens
Hmm.
next.
Hmm.
And the trader would then sell it on to a bigger trader in the city, maybe
Hmm.
in Visakhapatnam or Chennai.
Hmm.
uh, and those traders would be the ones who have the export contacts,
Okay.
and they would export it to, in the case of manta ray gills, Hong Kong and
Hmm.
Guangzhou in China. Those are the
Hmm.
two hubs.
Hmm.
But it would be, these traders would be dealing with all sorts of things, all sorts of marine products, and this would just be one
Hmm.
of the uh, you know gray area products that would
Hmm.
slip in under the
Hmm.
radar.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you were saying that Chennai is becoming a major hub for all of these things.
Chennai is a big hub for marine exports. I think
Yeah.
a lot of whatever marine produce comes out of the east coast of India, it
Hmm.
all passes through Chennai.
Hmm.
So it just happens to be the biggest, port city,
Hmm.
and yeah, yeah.
So during the making of the film, like, have you ever get any threat from anyone, like someone?
Uh, no, I don't think we ever found ourselves in a situation like that, and
Hmm.
I'm glad that you know uh,
Hmm.
that we in Chennai, when we filmed, we were filming uh,
Mhm.
there was a specific address that we were trying to track down, and
Mhm.
one specific trader, and we found them. We went to their office,
Mhm.
uh, and I think we were posing as we wanted in we told them we're into the fish export business,
Mhm.
from Goa, because Malaika is from Goa,
Mhm.
and we were looking for some business, you know looking to expand our business and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Mhm.
I don't think they completely believed us. They kind of figured out there was something fishy.
Mhm.
And while we were leaving, they were asking us questions, where are you staying, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And that was a little bit uncomfortable kind of
Mhm.
a territory. And
Mhm.
uh, we had to leave from there. I
Hmm.
think, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, friends, why we are getting this audio video break? Because Nitya is joining us from Sri Lanka, so he's in Sri Lanka right now, and he's talking from his hotel's room. So that's why maybe the net issue. So now coming out of the film, so as you said, and we that you are in Sri Lanka. So what are you doing Sri Lanka in these days?
I'm here for a shoot, actually.
Hmm.
We've been filming in a rainforest
Uh-huh.
for the past 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and I'll be going on to film leopards for the next
Hmm.
week or so. So it's a wildlife shoot,
Hmm.
and I've been here for a while now. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so uh, uh, now, what is some of the major projects that you are working on? Because when I was going through your website, one thing which attracts me is like Generation Toxic, which you are working, and it said it's coming soon. It's a three-part series. So can you tell me about little about that Generation Toxic?
Uh, oh yeah, for sure. Generation Toxic is the next big project that we're currently working on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about how the different kinds of pollution, air, land, and water pollution, affect
Mm-hmm.
us and our lives in unexpected ways,
Mm-hmm.
in ways that we don't really fully realize,
Mm-hmm.
and what we can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also going to be, uh, we're trying to make it, the pollution of the topic of pollution can get boring. It can turn
Mm-hmm.
people off.
Yes.
So we're trying to find a way to make it interesting,
Mm-hmm.
investigative, trying to investigate who the real powers are that have a stake in keeping things the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, we're going to just follow that thread and see where it takes us. When we start looking deeper into pollution, who causes
Yeah.
it, and who is impacted by it.
Yeah. We just received a message from one of the viewers, Patel Manish. He's saying we are
Mhm.
from Surat, Gujarat, and are interested for the start hydrogen fuel cell. Or so, can you make a video for this? Uh,
You
but
can get in touch with us,
yeah.
Manish, through our website.
Uh,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
So you can find their contact. You can contact at untamedplanet.in, and you can write Nitya directly, and certainly he will get back to you. Yeah. So
definitely, yeah.
yeah. So we were talking about this series of the film. So
Mhm.
three-part series will be divided in three different topics. What?
We're still, in the process of structuring
Okay.
the film, and
Haha.
and it's very early stages. We've just
Mhm.
we've shot a little bit for it, and
Mhm.
and we are doing more pre-production, and we'll be shooting more. So it's too soon to say.
So by when
Yeah.
we can expect the series to come out? Like,
I think it'll take some time, maybe at least a year,
yeah,
maybe by the end of
yeah,
next year,
yeah.
hopefully.
Uh,
Yeah.
any plan with this film? Like, are you planning, because it has nominated in Green Oscars and you won a prize in Jackson Hole? So CMS Vatavaran gets nominated, and probably on 23rd we will know in award function that
Sure.
so. But after that, are you planning to have a kind of screening in various part of the world, or something of this sort?
So the Manta film has already has been broadcast on National Geographic in India.
Mhm.
So in fact, that just last month, they broadcast it in India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, the South India region,
Hmm.
uh, and it is also playing in Europe. So
Okay.
on a TV channel called Arte France.
Mhm. Arte France.
Um,
Yes, yes.
yes, yes.
And
So
you
we
can
are
have this. You can have Arte France on Amazon Prime. You can download the Arte France from Amazon Prime, and if it's there, anyone can watch.
yeah, they have tie-ups with streaming platforms.
Yes.
And I think within India it will be available on Hotstar, because Hotstar has tied up,
Okay.
I mean, Hotstar and National Geographic
Yeah.
are owned by the same parent company.
That's
And
great news.
yeah, and we, we're always looking for ways to take it out to newer audiences. That's always
Mhm.
our goal, to try and
Mhm.
uh, get as many diverse audiences to watch the film and learn about the issue.
Yeah. So Nitya, as the CMS Vatavaran is 2 year cycle, so after this festival, we will be traveling in around India and probably also into Nepal and Bhutan as a traveling festival,
Fantastic.
and
Yeah,
probably we will be screening the film to the various audiences in these town and in Nepal and Bhutan also. So we will certainly let you know when we plan and how and where we will be going. So
that's
now coming,
fantastic. Yeah.
yeah. So now coming to a very different topic. That is, like, you are a young filmmaker, you and Malaika, and are doing really good. You had come up with a very, wonderful, remarkable film like this. One of the,
Mhm.
I think one of the uh, very few investigative, you know, uh, documentary talking about some, illegal trade, wildlife trade. Uh, what do you want to say to the new filmmakers for who wanted to start their career in the filmmaking, especially in green filmmaking, wildlife filmmaking? uh, Two things. One, yes, as what I understand, that you haven't you were studying in engineering, as you were saying, but then you started working part time as a hobby, and then you taken it as a career. So is it important for the wanted to be filmmaker to go through a film course, and or what you will suggest, go to the film course or start works somewhere? Like, what will be the better option for a young one who want to make his or her career in green filmmaking?
See, I think there are two possible paths. One is to
Mhm,
study a course,
mhm, mhm,
um, and the other is to kind of make your own path, or
mhm,
learn by doing.
mhm,
Um, I think that you learn a lot by
mhm,
doing,
mhm,
and by working.
mhm,
Um, I'm not saying that there is no merit to going and studying
mhm,
a film course, but
mhm,
uh, very often, even after you finish your film course,
mhm.
you have to come back and still start at scratch to
Yes.
actually uh, be able to establish yourself and to really
Mhm,
learn the ropes of
mhm,
how things work.
mhm,
Uh, I think everyone's journey and everyone's path will be different.
mhm,
Uh, for me, what really worked, like I said, getting an opportunity to work at Felis under
mhm,
Sandesh was something that really uh, taught me a lot.
mhm,
And I uh, even before that, making films on my own, because I had been
mhm,
making films for 3 or 4 years already.
mhm.
uh, Making films on my own, just picking up a camera and going out there, thinking of a story and actually executing it, actually capturing it, and
Mhm,
um, putting it together, that really taught me a lot.
mhm,
uh, I think specifically with green filmmaking, people who want to start with in that field, um, again, I would not be able to say which is whether it's a better thing to do a course or not.
mhm,
uh, But regardless of that, I think making films is important.
Hmm.
You just have to start. You pick up a camera and you start filming. You start thinking of the story, start
Hmm.
capturing it, and you can, it's not, you don't have to go to Masai Mara to make a wildlife film. There
Yes.
is, the natural world is there all around us.
Yeah.
uh, you just have to explore that, bring your unique vision to
Hmm.
it, your unique
Hmm.
way of looking at things.
Hmm.
And even the simplest of stories can be told in an interesting way, and that's what developing your craft is all about.
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
One more thing, like, uh, okay, so now I have decided that I wanted, I will, pursue my career in the filmmaking or the environmental filmmaking. And I started working with someone. I got certain, year or year and a half kind of experience.
Hmm.
Now, for those filmmakers, what is like, one question which always occurs, like, how I will generate fun to make my film. So what will be your suggestions? Because fundraising is a really difficult for everyone. If the filmmakers are established, people can say, he established filmmaker, usko kya hai, usko to paise mil jayenge, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
what's your experience? Because in a way, you are a kind of way with these kind of films, you can claim yourself now as one of the becoming established. So you started from not from scratch, and then you come here. So you must have gone through these kind of difficulties. So how difficult is fundraising, and how the new filmmakers cope with it?
I think for fundraising is difficult, definitely. And
Yeah.
again, there is no one way to do it. Um,
Yes.
Definitely, there are lots of grant programs
Mhm.
and lots of you know y- uh, what's it called, mentorship, or uh, uh, you know collectives that seek
Mhm.
scripts, seek ideas, and they choose to fund the ideas
Mhm.
that they think have
Mhm.
promise.
Mhm.
Within the wildlife space, there are several grant programs that can help you kickstart something.
Mhm.
uh, if that is something that you've tried and you haven't had a lot of luck,
Mhm.
or you haven't been able to get a grant,
Mhm.
you know it does take some amount of money. But when we started making our Manta Ray film, uh, we would spend 15 or 20,000 rupees to just take a camera and take a train to go to Andhra Pradesh,
Mhm.
stay in a very basic place, and film for about a week and come back.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to put in something like that from your end to 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 start things off.
Mhm.
With the Manta Ray film, we just now, as I described, that's how we started. And
Yeah.
then towards the end, when we needed to go to China, we did some commercial projects for some uh parties, like just some general commercial projects as filmmakers to raise funds
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
keep making the film that we wanted to make.
Mhm.
And that's how we funded our travel to China. Um and and towards the end, once we had a rough cut of the film, that's when we were able to get in a little bit of funding to finish the edit.
Mhm.
uh, and Wild Aid
Mhm.
helped us out, and they were a
Mhm.
partner, conservation partner. That's how we
Okay.
finished the film. And
Mhm.
once we went to film festivals and started getting uh, a positive response, then
Mhm.
that really helped us get noticed and get more work. And people noticed it.
So now
So
we
it's
had
it's a
yeah.
tough just so, it's a tough path, and you have to
Mhm.
kind of forge your own path. It'll
Yes.
be unique to each person,
Mhm.
um, but you just have to keep persevering.
Yeah. So now you
Yeah.
had a ample of experience. What you will suggest to the new filmmakers, like, how to approach with a project to someone for getting funds? What should they keep in mind? And what are the points which they should keep in while making a presentation. Like if someone wants to go to NGC or Discovery
Mhm.
to make a presentation for getting fund, what are the things he or she should take into consideration?
See, I think that's something that is a common kind of a question, and people
Mhm,
ask me as well. Oh, I want to approach National Geographic or Discovery
mhm,
Channel.
mhm,
uh, I think it's very difficult for someone who doesn't have a lot of experience to really break through and just directly be able to pitch a project to
mhm,
an NGC or a Discovery Channel. I think
mhm.
the way to do that is your first film you kind of have to make on your own, uh,
Okay.
through grants
Mhm,
and grant programs. They are a really really useful and helpful way to fund your work, and there
mhm,
are many of them out there that support filmmakers.
mhm,
um, National Geographic has a grants program, and these are
mhm.
all just applications. These are just written applications. You write down your
Okay.
idea, you write down your what is your treatment in mind,
Mhm,
you write down what is your experience, what is your vision,
mhm,
and if you are able to convey a strong concept, i think
mhm,
i think the most important thing here is a strong story and a strong vision. If you have that, then you may end up with a strong film.
mhm,
The chances are higher that you end up with a strong film. So
mhm,
a lot of grant programs exist out there. It does take some amount of research to look up online and keep track of these and try and apply to them as they come by.
mhm,
uh, and once you are able to demonstrate that you have you've developed a little bit of that craft, you have that
mhm,
skill.
mhm,
um, Being noticed at film festivals is that's one of the most important things to make a
mhm,
film. That if it gets noticed at film festivals, that's when people know that, okay, you are serious, you've put in the effort
mhm,
to develop your skills, and you're telling
mhm.
stories that are relevant and interesting, and that opens a lot of doors.
Wow, well said.
Yeah.
So now, at the like we I have so many questions for you, but as we had a limited time, and I know you are joining us from Sri Lanka, so let me ask. Come to As we come to the last part of the session. Uh, if you want to give suggestions to the new filmmakers,
Hmm.
what you will suggest, and for you, what is most important for a good filmmaking? A good content, or a good script, or a good camera, heavy, mega wala camera, or editing? What is the most important thing for making a good film? And what you will give suggestions to the new filmmakers who wanted to make a career in the environmental filmmaking?
I think without a doubt, the story is the most important thing.
Mhm.
uh, you you need to first of all have a story that you believe in,
Mm.
because I think that really comes through
Mhm.
in the final product.
Mhm.
Something that you believe in, something that you think is relevant and interesting. And actually, on the execution side of it,
Mhm.
in the beginning, just keep things simple.
Mhm.
Focus on telling the story in the most effective way possible.
Mhm.
uh, what camera you have is not really all that important. Like, the best camera to use is the camera you have with you.
Great.
That's, you need to start telling the story. That's what's important.
Mhm.
um, try and focus on the narrative. Try
Mhm.
and make sure that the narrative is, you make it as interesting as possible, as nuanced as possible.
Mhm.
Bring in
Mhm.
different perspectives,
Mhm.
and try and tell the story in a
Mhm.
brief but interesting way. uh, I think everything else is a distraction. Yeah.
Okay. And what suggestion you will give to the filmmaker who, like new filmmaker who wanted to come into environment filmmaking, make it a career?
I think I think there are stories all around us, uh, about the environment, about the natural world.
Mhm,
There is no lack of stories. Whether you want to
mhm,
tell a story about wildlife,
mhm,
about an environmental issue, about
mhm,
conservation, about anything. I think there are stories all around us. I
mhm,
think what's really required is for you to go out there and explore your neighborhood,
mhm,
what's around you, the natural world around you, and
mhm,
it's full of stories. Pick one that interests you, that drives you,
mhm,
and just try and come up with a simple concept, a simple idea, a strong
mhm,
story, and try and tell that in the most effective way as you can. That's It will help you develop your skills as a filmmaker the most,
mhm,
and it will
mhm,
lead to a film that uh, will will probably when people watch it, if the
mhm,
story is strong and told in a simple way, I think that is
mhm.
most impactful and that gets most attention.
Well said. Really, the whole discussion was really, very interesting, I'm really
Thanks,
happy
thanks.
that you joined us. Although you and Malaika, they both are busy, not in country, but even though you managed to join us from Sri Lanka, thank you very much, Nitya, and I hope to see you and Malaika on 23rd at 11 p.m. in the online award function. Uh,
Definitely.
what
Thank you, Sabyasachi.
Thank you for taking time and joining with us.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye bye.
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 So, friend, this was Nitya Sood, a wonderful young filmmaker who had come up with this, unbelievable film, uh, which you must go and watch on India Science OTT channel. Uh, and This is a very interesting film, and you must have understood during the process, during the discussion, that it's an investigative documentary on a manta ray fish fin smuggling. So please go and watch it on India Science OTT channel, powered by DST and and Vigyan Prasad. And friend, you at today at 6:30, we will be talking to Sri Kunal Satyarthi, IFS and Joint Secretary and Advisor Policy and Plan at National Disaster Management Authority, Government of Ministry of Home, Government of India, and we will be discussing with him about the impact of climate change uh, on the disasters and the frequency of disasters, how growing due to the climate change effect, and how NDMA is trying to cope with it, and how it's training people to deal with these disasters in different part of the country. So please do join us at 6:30. Till the time, have a great day. Good night.